Welcome. This video is going to be about how to trade with Bitmex, the exchange. For a lot of you, it's going to be quite difficult and it's going to be a little bit hard to understand when you first open up a Bitmex account, which is completely understandable. It isn't the easiest thing to understand when you first open up, so I'm going to run you through it because I'm getting quite a lot of questions in the battle arena, in the penthouse on how to use Bitmex, what everything means, the mark price, how to set a stop loss, buying at market, how I set up my Bitmex, just things like that. So I'm going to show you how to use it, and this is going to be the video that I'm going to refer all the new people into, unless there's something I'm going to miss here, which I can then cover again in a future video or just answer to you when you ask me that question. So this is what you'll see when you first open up a Bitmex account. What I like to do how I set up my Bitmex is I like to have a black because I don't like the white. So I come up here to this part and I'll put my color theme to black because I think it's just a little bit easier to see and it just looks a little bit better to my eye. So this is what I will do. Now when you first open it up, you're also going to see the chart here, which I don't use. I will take that away and I'll show you that in a second. You're going to see the recent trades over on this side as well. And then you're going to see the order book over here. Now, what I normally like to do is I'll just get rid of the chart completely. I'll just scroll this up and get rid of it, right? So I'll put this somewhere down here and then I'll open up the order book. I'll get this as big as I can and it'll look something like this. Let me see if I can just move this out of the way again if I can grab it. See if I can't pop it down here. I just get rid of the chart completely because I'll just be trading off TradingView. I don't use anything else. I don't use this chart. I just use the TradingView chart. So this is how it will look when I open it up. Now, when you first open up, you're going to obviously want to deposit some Bitcoin into it. So to deposit some Bitcoin, you'll go to your account here, and this will be your wallet. This is where you'll see all your wallet balance. If you're in a trade, your unrealized profit and loss, your margin balance, which will be your wallet balance, things like that. You'll go to your deposit part here in the website, and it'll bring up this. Now, this part here is going to be where you deposit your Bitcoin, and it's going to come up as XBT. Okay, it's going to come up as XBT. It won't be as BTC, but it's the same thing. Don't worry about it. So you can either scan the code here like I normally do, or you can just copy and paste this and then transfer your Bitcoin over into this wallet here. Once you've done that, it's going to come up here with however much money you put in there. And you're also going to see it just up here as well, okay? You're also going to see it just up here as well. So once you've got your Bitcoin in here, this is where you'll actually be doing your trading over here. Now, every contract with the quantity, we're talking USD here, okay? We're not talking Bitcoin anymore. We're buying contracts. And every contract you buy is worth $1, okay? So if you buy 10,000 contracts, that's going to be $10,000 worth in the equivalent to BTC, okay? Now, this is your leverage part down here. Let me just move this out of the way. This is going to be where you put in your leverage. Now, I always tell everybody who first starts using Bitmex, unless you're already experienced or when you get more experience, that you should only ever use 5x leverage. Only ever use 5x leverage. Now, in the next video, when I do some live trading, I'll show you why. But just trust me. Otherwise, if you're starting trades with 100x leverage, okay, if you're starting trades with 100x leverage, you're going to have a very, very small you're going to have a very small margin for error, should I say. Which means if you chuck into a trade at 100x, you're only going to have maybe $100 here, $100 in actual margin before you get liquidated, okay? So it's a very, very small margin for error, which you do not want to be trying to fuck with, especially when you first start trading, okay? Even 50x is too much. Even this is too much. You might only have $200 worth of margin to play with, which is absolutely fuck all when you first start trading. So please take my advice. Start trading with 5x. You'll see in the next video when I start a trade with 5x leverage why. And that's what you want to be starting out with, okay? Now, with the limit up here, this is where you actually chuck in a trade, okay? This is where you chuck in a trade at the price that you want, okay? A market trade is when you just buy at the market price no matter what the price is, okay? This is where you buy at the market price no matter what the price is. Now, with the limit price, if you line up the chart and you want to have an entry on a support line, this is where you can enter it in. Now, it just said the support is on 15,600. Okay, 15,600. You can chuck in a buy order for 15,600 and wait for it to get a fill there. Okay, this is what I like to do. Okay, and the reason why is because I can control where I enter a trade, whether it's on the chart, and I can continuously set places for where I want to buy if I'm bringing down my average entry. So if I buy a little bit higher and I want to bring my average entry down, I'll be setting orders at 15,600. I'll be setting them at 15,635 and so on and so forth until I get an average entry that comes down, okay? Now, once you've got your buy order in, you're going to see it just down here, okay? You're going to see it in the active orders. This is where your active orders come up, where you'll see all the trades that you're going to enter that haven't got filled yet. Once you've got a stop loss in, which I'll show you as well in a second, this is where your stops are going to come in. You're going to see your stop losses and your fills. Now, once you've actually got trades in, this is where all your fills are going to come in. Okay, you're going to see all your trades in here. And the same with order history. This is where all your trades are going to come in as well. But your fills, this is where once your active orders have got filled up and you've executed the order, it's going to come in the fills, okay? This is where you're going to see your fills. Now your positions is the trade that you're actually currently in. This is the trade that you're going to be in once you've got an active order that's been filled out, okay? It's going to come up in fills as well. But your position, this is where you're going to see your position, okay? And this is where you're going to see your unrealized profit and loss, okay, once you enter. Your realized profit and loss, this is where you're going to be since you've opened up the trade. And normally there's going to be a fee that comes out, okay? You're going to see a fee come out somewhere down here. Once you enter the trade, I believe it's every 8 hours. Another fee will come out of what you've out of your position. And this is what's going to come up here, okay? This is also the profit and loss of your last 24 hours of trading, okay? So if you're up, say, 1 Bitcoin in the last 24 hours, you're going to have a realized profit and loss of 1.0. If you've had 0.1 of fees as well, your profit and loss is going to be 0.9, okay? So I hope that clears that up just a little bit. Now for a stop limit, okay, if I've got a long in at 15,700, okay, I've got a long in for 15,700, and I look at the chart, and if it drops below 15,400, then that's when I believe that the trade's going to be over, and we're now going into more of a bearish trend. I'm going to set my stop loss for 15,400, okay? I'm going to put my stop loss in both of these slots here, okay? Both of these slots here, and if I've got a set for buy, if I've gone long, I'm going to want to do a sell stop loss, okay? I want to do a sell. So this is where I'm going to put my sell stop loss here for however many contracts I'm in. If I want to completely exit my my whole position, then I'm going to put every contract that I've got. So if I've got 10,000, if I'm in long for 10,000 contracts, I'm going to do a sell stop loss for 10,000 contracts at this price, okay? If this is where I think it's going to go. Now, you don't have to just do a stop loss for your whole position either. Sometimes I don't do it for my whole position. I'll just do for half of my position to bring down my risk for the trade. So I may just do a 50% stop loss on my position. So I'll do 5,000 contracts if I'm in for 10,000 contracts. Okay, so this is how your stop limit works. I definitely recommend that you do use it, especially when you first start trading. I don't always use a stop loss. Most of the time, mine is just a mental stop loss because sometimes on margin trade it can be so quick, and sometimes having a stop loss can actually hurt you because it can dip there and then it can come straight back up. So you want to have all the indicators there that make it look like that it's gone to shit. The trade's fucking gone to shit. Then you can just I just market sell what I've got if it's looking bad. Or I'll just do 50% on my position. It really just depends on a margin trade because things happen so fast. Things happen on the go, on the fly. That's why it's quite difficult to actually put in trades in the Bitmex alerts because things happen so quickly and it's more of on the fly type trading, which is why it's so much fun. So that's that. Now we're also going to have what we call a mark price. We're going to have a mark price, which is, where is it here? Can't see it here, but this is your mark price here, okay? Now your mark price is obviously different to the actual price of what you're seeing here. So when you have a trade in, you're going to have an unrealized P&L, and when you're not hovering over it, it's going to give you the mark price. When you're not hovering over it, it's going to give you the profit and loss of the mark price, which makes it a little bit confusing, okay? When you do hover over it, it's giving you the actual profit and loss of the trade at the exact moment of what this price is, of the actual order book at Bitmex, okay? The reason why they do this is so if you have a spike or if we have a quick dump, okay, you're not going to get liquidated straight away. It's going to give you the chance if it dumps, just say $300 or $400 over the span of 10 minutes. It's the mark price that you get liquidated at, okay? It's the mark price that liquidates you. This is to stop you from getting liquidated on quick dumps or on quick pumps, okay? So it gives you the chance to get out while you can, okay? So it's just basically giving you a chance. Now the mark price, I believe, is just the average price of all the exchanges. So yeah, it's going to give you a chance to get out. You just do need to be wary that the mark price isn't your actual profit and loss, okay? You need to hover over your actual position when you're in the position. When you see your position here, you're going to have the size, the value, what you got in at, the mark price, okay? The mark price is giving you this when you don't hover it. When you hover it, then you've actually got the exchange price of Bitmex, and that is that. So I hope that clears a little bit of those things up. Now, I'm also getting some questions about, for example, if I'm in a trade and I've got 100x leverage and my trade goes badly and I've borrowed, say, 5 Bitcoin, is it possible that I can just run with the losses, okay? So this is how, when you borrow money or when you do a 50x or a 25x leverage, this is how it works, and this is how you cannot possibly be in debt to the exchange. This is how you can't run with a huge loss. If you lose 25, if you lose 5 Bitcoin that you've leveraged, the exchange is not going to be running after you looking for their money. Okay, it doesn't work like that. So when you go for the 25x leverage or the 5x leverage, like I suggest and recommend when you first start trading with Bitmex until you get the hang of it, you're going to have a $100 or $200, or in the case when you do a 5x leverage, you've got a couple of thousand, normally around 2,000 margin that you can play with, okay, before you get liquidated. Now, when you borrow this at 5x leverage, okay, you're not actually borrowing that Bitcoin, okay? You're borrowing contracts to the value of that Bitcoin. Now, if you were to get liquidated, you're not getting liquidated for that full 5 Bitcoin. You're not losing that Bitcoin. You're losing the money that you've actually used to borrow those contracts, okay? So that's where you have a liquidation price. This is where you lose the money that you put into for this trade. Now, when you get liquidated, you're losing the money that you've put into the trade and no more, okay? So when you've lost that, when you have a liquidation price and you get liquidated, you're only losing the money that you've put in. You can't lose any more money than that, okay? So don't stress about borrowing 5 Bitcoin, or when you're on a 25x leverage or whatever it is, that you're going to lose that Bitcoin that you borrowed and that you're going to have to pay them back. That won't happen. Simply won't happen. That's why they have a liquidation price, so you can't lose more than you put in. Okay, so I hopefully that clears that up. It is a little bit tricky to explain, but yeah, hopefully that clears that up for you. That's pretty much it for Bitmex trading. I think that gives you a fairly good rundown of how this works, what I like to do, some of the positions, and the mark price. I think the mark price and the liquidations of borrowing too much and getting liquidated and having to or being in debt, that's quite a common question that I get asked quite a lot. So hopefully that clears that up with the mark price and the liquidation. I've got the stop loss in there, which is good, which you'll be using, the market price, and that's about it. So hope this clears some things up. Hope you enjoyed, and in the next video or two, I will be doing a Bitmex live trading session so I can show you how, when I am trading, when I'm adding on to my leverage, when I'm increasing my leverage and adding on the dips. So when you see my actual entry, my entry price is always going to be a little bit higher, or it will be high because I'm adding on dips, I'm adding onto my position, I'm adding onto my winners. Okay, so I'm always adding onto my winners. That's when you see the big percentage gains on the 800%, but I've got an entry price that's a little bit higher. What I've been doing is I've been adding on every single dip that comes up, and I'm increasing my leverage on the dip, which is giving me, I'm using the same amount of money as what I used at the start, which is 5% of my bankroll. And I'm using that 5% every single time when I increase the leverage to add on contracts on the dips, which is adding onto my position, which is giving me back more money when it's on a winner. Okay, so I think that's a fairly good explanation of what I do, but you'll actually see me do that live trading. And what I mean, I'll get a live trading session up, and you'll see my how I think through every trade, what I'm doing through every trade, and yeah, what I like to do. So that'll be in the next video. I think I'll leave it here for this one. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this helps, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.